Hello everyone, today I'm going to recap a film named A Professor. Remember to subscribe to get exclusive updates, so grab your popcorn and enjoy the movie. Thank you. The movie starts with a man named Richard, who learns he has lung cancer. Richard teaches literature at a college. His doctor says he might only live for 6 months without treatment. Richard feels very sad and goes to work. He tries all day to accept what's happening, but he breaks down during dinner. At dinner, Richard is with his daughter Olivia and his wife Veronica. He wants to tell them about his illness, but Olivia suddenly says she likes girls. Veronica laughs and says it's just a phase. Richard tries to support Olivia, but Veronica and Olivia argue, and Olivia leaves upset.
Yeah, no, I think I know my own sexual preference.
It's just a phase.
I, for one, think it's fantastic.
Don't placate her.
I'm not placating my daughter.
Veronica confesses she's cheating on him with Henry. Richard's boss wonders why, with Henry, whom he thinks is useless. Veronica says Henry does have courage 3 times over. Before leaving, Veronica asks what Richard wanted to say at dinner, and he jokes that he wanted to apologize for only having 2 eggs. The next day, Richard gives a talk to his students. He tells them what kind of students he wants to keep in his class. Students who don't fit these qualities can leave.
So for those of you who are not even remotely interested in being here, please leave. Just simply walk out the door.
And he will give them a C grade. Those who stay only need to read 1 book and write about it for their classmates. After this, almost all the students leave. Richard sees a feminist student among those who stay. He says he doesn't care about feminism right now and doesn't want to hear about gender inequality.
No feminist or queer propaganda. The plight of unkempt women is truly the last thing I would like to think about right now.
Richard ends the class suddenly. Because he needs to relax emotionally, he jokes that if any student knows where to get weed, they can find him in his office. Then he leaves, surprising the students by closing the door behind him. Richard goes to a bar and drinks with his best friend, Peter. He asks Peter for help taking time off work and tells him about his illness.
I have cancer, Peter. Well, I have cancer, and it doesn't look good.
Peter feels sorry for Richard and tries to comfort him, but Richard wants Peter to stop pitying him. The next day, Richard suggests to Veronica not to tell their daughter about their family problems. Instead, he allows Veronica to have freedom in her relationship with her lover, but Richard doesn't want to be full to her anymore. They have a good talk and get drunk together in your new freedoms. That night, Olivia brings her friend home and finds her parents drinking and having fun in a messy state. Olivia takes her friend away while her parents continue their evening. At night, Veronica feels sorry for how she reacted to her daughter's confession during a lecture. Richard meets with his remaining students. He asks a girl named Clara to introduce herself. It turns out she is Henry's niece, the person Richard's wife is cheating with. Clara, she doesn't like her uncle much either.
I guess because my uncle is the president of the school.
Ew. Henry Wright is your uncle?
Yes.
I can't stand fuck.
They all go to a pub. Instead, Richard shares his life advice with the young men. A waitress approaches them. Richard flirts with her, and she flirts back. He raises a toast and jokes about needing to cheat on his wife. Right then, he goes to the restroom and has fun with the waitress, while Veronica enjoys herself with Henry. When Richard returns to the table, he asks the students to leave a big tip for the waitress. His actions shock the students a bit later, during a family dinner. Richard offers Veronica an apology, and daughter Olivia accepts the apology. A new school day begins. A feminist student speaks to the students, and Richard expresses her opinion about the readings. The professor concludes that she has begun to change for the better. After a while, a student comes into Richard's office and gives him a free brownie with weed. Richard thanks him, and tries to treat the student as courting the professor, and offers him some fun. At home, Richard talks to Olivia and asks his daughter if she is happy with her girlfriend. Olivia answers that she is very happy. The father is very happy and proud of his daughter.
Yeah, I'm happy for you, sweetheart. I'm so happy. I'm so happy for you.
Richard takes his students out onto the lawn in front of the college. They are using illegal substances and drinking alcohol. Peter can't stand to see Richard destroy himself, so he brings him to a cancer support group. After listening to the stories of other patients, the professor says that they are just wasting their time, which is very short. He suggests that they all go out and have fun, but no one agrees. Richard wishes everyone good luck and goes with Peter to a pub when they get drunk. Richard shares his idea with Peter. He does not want to wait for the end but wants to go on a journey. Clara enters the pub. Richard sends Peter home in a taxi. Clara offers the teacher another drink. The girl orders a song, and Richard tells her about his diagnosis. Clara says she admires Richard and asks him to dance.
Come dance with me.
Dance? I'll dance.
During the dance, Clara wants to kiss Richard, but Richard faints and is taken to the hospital. When Richard returns home from the hospital, Veronica asks him where he's been, and he apologizes but doesn't tell his wife about his problems. It's another day at work. Henry calls Richard into his office. Henry threatens to fire the professor for his recent antics. Richard says he knows about the affair, and now Richard threatens Henry that he will tell his wife in exchange for his silence. Richard demands a sabbatical, and Henry has no choice but to accept.
I'm going to take it that my request for sabbatical has been accepted.
During class, Clara talks to her classmates. She talks about the necessity and importance of love in this world, looking at Richard with sad eyes. Richard concludes the lesson with a speech about the need to live life the way you want to, otherwise, everything was in vain in his office. Richard feels sick and falls to the floor. Peter finds him in this state. Richard asks his friend to go to church with him, and there Richard shares his feelings about his life with Peter. It seems that Richard is saying goodbye to his friend Peter. Peter cannot stand it and starts to cry.
Listen, I really prefer if you didn't cry. Listen to me. We tried. Yes. Now let's go. Come on.
They embrace, trying to comfort each other later. Henry has a dinner for his company, and Veronica and Richard are there too. Richard goes up to Henry's wife and kisses her passionately in front of everyone. Henry acts like nothing happened during dinner. Richard stands up and tells everyone about his illness. He hints publicly that Henry is having an affair with his wife. Richard also thanks Peter for their friendship and says he's still happy that Veronica is his wife and that he loves her. At the end of dinner, Richard says goodbye to Veronica. He asks her to always try to be happy. Richard hugs Veronica, who is crying, and looks at her lovingly for the last time before they part ways back home. Richard doesn't have time to pack before Olivia, his daughter, arrives. Olivia is sad because her friend betrayed her. Richard tries to comfort her by pouring her a drink.
Don't worry, sweetheart. You're gonna be fine.
Olivia asks her father what's wrong, and Richard tells her about his illness as they say goodbye. Richard tells Olivia to always stay true to herself. Richard tells Olivia how much he'll miss her. Olivia watches from the porch as her father sits in the car. Richard blows her a final kiss, and Olivia watches him drive away. He stops at an intersection, looks into the distance, and then drives straight ahead, choosing his own path. This is how the movie ends. Remember to subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.
Ama sağdan bir haber, bir bother.